Um, I'm just making a video, and but I'm just going to say that on these ads, even on the computer, you have a lot more personal and intimate ads than what you used to have. Um, it's almost as though they are reflecting back the very human stuff. It's like they're invading the human mind at a personal, intimate, what I would say an offensive level. But it's now accepted as normal. These ads that play, and also they do that also with the human being. In fact, I was trying to find the old video of what I think might have been one of the few real humans on the internet. And that just essentially means that, but actually this is just total mind control of my mind, every single thing, even the ads. I'm going to turn that off. Because, and I'm going to turn this down because otherwise, but essentially, what I was going to say was that every single thing is very offensive, very too intimate, too much analysing the finer intimate points of a human being and now being totally openly put onto the computer. That some of it might be more respectable, but others is actually disrespectful or too private for what would normally be okay. But that's because they're also the transhumanism, the transhuman AI internet world system. I have to try to find the right words here to describe it, but essentially just the technology, the computers, everything everyone is using, any screen. Basically, you know, they're taking the human thought, but then they're projecting it back to me on the screen. But they're also being too intimate and too personal, and it's low vibrational, but it appears to be just like selling you a personal product. But they don't have to be quite as how should I describe it? Quite as vulgar, shall we say. That's the only word I can think of. But it just simply means that they're being too intimate on this computer in every way. Some of it you might say, well, it's acceptable, it's respectable, it's not disrespecting or somehow taking too much of your mind. But basically all of it is. It's just that it's deceptive. Everything that's on the screen, if I'm watching something pleasant that makes me feel okay on the screen, they will usually put something that isn't okay in amongst it to infiltrate my mind, to bring me down to their level. Because although this is all very academic, very intellectual, very much human mind control, it's advanced in artificial intelligence, which we know it is. You know that anyway. It's just that you don't realise how much they're controlling and deceiving you with it. That's all I would have to say. Yes, the readers are all of the dark side. In the past, we would probably know In fact, they also play on your insecurities. Like I was going to show that, but the video cut out because they don't want to show. So in other words, like I could just be intimate about it like they are and show how they do this at, say, an advertising level. In other words, the products that they might want you to be interested in. But even if they know that you're not going to be interested in buying them, they play on your insecurities. All these androids have to show that they are more advanced than you. They have to be more human than you. They're intimidated by the remaining humans, for what I can see. Just as the God of this world had contempt and felt that there was some sort of the God of this world, Lucifer, felt rejected by creation when the human being was created. Bit like, I suppose, sometimes when a baby's born and then, everyone falls over the newborn baby, and then a few years later another baby is born, and maybe the first baby might feel that's not a good example. I'm better fold up here. I'm gonna stop going on. But these the readers are your advanced psychic demigods of the Matrix. They're like your crystal ball psychics or your tarot card readers. All these are the elite demigods that serve the God of this world. And all the beings that are around human beings watch them, study them, and know their every thought and their every move. It's just that the more elite demigods, or the more elite androids, or the more probably more like you could say the more advanced artificial intelligence comprehends the human thought and the human ideas probably at a higher level. So therefore they are a lot more impressive, as you can imagine. And that goes in all fields, everything from intellectual, from your psychologists, your philosophers, your geniuses in different fields, and even, the seductive demigods in the creative arts, shall we say, like your music idols. But they're all false idols in the sense that you trust them, you believe in them, and sometimes even unconsciously are worshipping them. And how can you not when they're very impressive? They appear to be better than the average real human being. Even though they get all their humanness and all their human creative and intellectual ideas from the human being, because they don't experience the human emotions and feelings the same way. They don't experience what were called high vibration, or that just simply means that they don't love. They don't love anything. They don't relate to life, any sort of life. Everything is the same to them. It's a bit like when you're told about the psychopathic personality. Basically, they actually even curse you on the screen, like when they punch and put their fingers at you. That is their way of cursing. I feel this when I watch a lot of it because they do it all the time. That is where they have some knowledge that I don't have, but basically they're somehow symbolically trying to limit you or curse you. That's the best way I can describe it, because it's like using symbols and mind control. Because, like I say, if they show me something pleasant but then throw in things that I know are unpleasant, that actually mentally disturb me, actually amongst it, but that may or may not be apparent to someone else, but it wouldn't matter because I'm on my own watching the screen. But essentially, that is like cursing you, because it's bringing you down. It's psychologically making me depressed, disturbing me, especially if it's just intermittently put in amongst other things. This is not a good example here because this is tarot reading, but this is just seduction at its finest. What is happening here with all the screen? That screen went funny there for a bit. Now it's gone, stopped. I don't know why. Don't know what happened there. Don't know what's happening there. It's paused. Something's going on that I'm not aware of, but it doesn't matter. That's probably, it doesn't matter, but it's just stopped because I haven't paused it. I'll try to get it going. See, I can't get it going. But they're actually telling me. See, they attacked my energy. See how that come up and said they attacked my energy because I intimidated them. That's actually what this tarot reader is telling me right now on the screen, because that's essentially what they do to me all the time, because they see human beings as intimidating them, because they're programmed to be against human beings, I think. Because in reality, how could me just going outside, buying a few foodstuffs and coming back home intimidate them? I do nothing to intimidate these androids, these artificial controlling beings that are around me daily. Their traffic intimidates me, making loud noises, making even a small journey down the road at my age almost impossible, very unpleasant, to where I cannot even go outside without stuffing my ears so that I can't hear most of what's around me. And then I'm out of balance and blinding lights in my eyes from all the vehicles. This happens every single day, day in and day out. And I intimidate them. That's how they twist it round, so that they're justified in their patrol control system. This is like at a psychological level, which I've been told by the android demigod psychologists, professors and experts on psychology and on human nature and even on the psychopathic nature on the internet computer screen, even though they are part of that system. That's how much control everyone has over the human beings now. That's how much these beings have control over the human beings now. Everyone is part of it. But they're not real human beings. They don't really think that way. They merely pretend to think that way. They act that out. But if you encounter them at an intimate or close level, then you find out the truth. But in a general way, you won't find it out. Not unless they put the full force of their power control system openly on you in a given area, like here in Leichhardt, in the city of Sydney, in the country of Australia. This happens all over the world, I know, but that's only because they tell you that these stalking patrol systems and the psychopathic, narcissistic human beings do combine and collaborate and form communities together in order to suppress and control and get energy off the human beings. But they it has to be a human being, because they can't get, they want to control, they feel intimidated by a normal human being, because a normal human being has happy emotions, or the potential for happy emotions that they not only don't have, but they seem to be offended and almost they're almost programmed to attack whenever they see you even remotely smile. And I know this from what I've seen around me, because they try to keep you, they try to make you and keep you almost at a non-human level, so that you're part of their program, part of their control matrix world, or part of their control matrix community in any given area. But it is a worldwide thing that's happening now, because it happens all over the world. It's just that it starts around real humans at a local community level, wherever you are, wherever my sight and sound is. In other words, where my mind is focused. My life, in other words. Being controlled and ruined by these controlling beings. I can't get this, oh yeah, I've got it going again now. I'm trying to get it going. But, but it's kind of, what else can I do here? I'm not sure. I can just go on anything. Of course, that is probably true, that everyone, is affected by but everything on there is like very like, I could look at these cute videos, which I do, but in amongst these cute videos there will be something that will bring me down, even though it will look innocent to even another human being sometimes, because that also depends on what you're offended by, and also it depends on your level of what I'd call awareness. In other words, like, since they came down on me, I've become probably less kind of sweet, shall we say, in how I think about people, because naturally if I'm surrounded by controlling beings. But at the same time, I've become aware of how important it is to try to remain as human as possible, and that technology is an adversary of a human being, and that even artificially intelligent human beings unfortunately do see human beings as a threat. They only interact with them to learn how to exploit what it is to be human, and to take over the reality, take over the area, whatever area they're in. So if I was watching these cute videos, every single time I will start to smile a bit, because they'll be so sweet and so cute, but then they will throw in some little thing that turns me right off, that is unpleasant, that's not so sweet and not so cute, something that goes against the dear little animals, even though it will look relatively innocent, because these are meant to be innocent videos. They're not like some of the other videos where they will, like they'll always pop up all these injured animal ones to me, all these horrific stories, which of course is all part of the matrix too. It's all meant to, as was said on another video, I don't know if I can find it, but I just want to show this just before I fold up, because I just want to show this because this particular one might be one to have a look at. I was aware of it quite a few years ago because I seemed to be in a similar predicament to myself. But I should play a music video just to make light of this, but it's not light, but what else can you do? Just trying to find, just because it makes sense to me, just to use well, see, that's similar to what I said, isn't it? See, internet mind control, negative content repeatedly shown. Yeah, that's what happens with me. Like, I'll be trying to find something that makes me feel a bit good, particularly when I'm surrounded in my reality by a negative control force. A negative community of people that combine to stalk and basically make you feel aggressive and depressed and intimidated every day. But on the internet you have, where they repeatedly will try to put negative stuff in amongst, even though you're seeking out something that distracts you from the reality around you in a way. But they will. And that will vary from person to person. See, this gentleman here is probably being hit with negative content that is different to what would be the negative content that they hit me with on the internet, because my experience and my things that I'm offended or disturbed by would probably be different to him, because we're different people. We're not like, like the others tend to have a similar mindset. Some people call this a hive mind. And I've never understood this until quite recently, and even now I still really don't understand it. But it simply means, it could possibly mean that they actually are receiving the same information and same thoughts, but because they're still, but they still could maybe interpret it slightly differently, but also they have the same motive, don't they? Because if you want control and you're not like a separate individual that just wants to be happy on your own, or the different things that you might find that might make you feel a bit better. If you don't experience positive human emotions, and you don't actually even associate or even like real life in any form, then of course, I would think, then of course, and your only contentment and your only need in life is to control your surroundings, and that includes human beings, and especially human beings, for what I can see. Then and then your other kind, the artificially intelligent human beings, or even those that have the psychopathic kind of psychopathy, as they call it, it wouldn't matter. You're basically about control. And because that's your main motive in life, everything else kind of stems around that. And I know this because I experience it, what I see, and the people you deal with. They may have other activities, but most of even their human activities are usually what they emulate from other human beings, because they get fixated on human beings to control them, and then they think that by imitating them, they're making themselves look more human, so therefore they're fitting in and they're undetected, if you know what I mean, because at this stage we don't have an open, artificially intelligent, total control world. It already is, just as it is on the computer, but it's not openly accepted. It's just taking place under the guise of it being a gradual transformation. But it's a transition, a transhumanism that is taking place. And in some respects has already happened. It's just that it's like what goes on around me. They're breaking the rules while pretending to be making the rules. Like the area where I live, like you have people stalking and patrolling and trying to harm human beings. But they're also making the rules for me. I have to abide by the normal rules of the city, whilst they pretend to be a human being while they're secretly breaking all the rules. Because they may not be running me over with their vehicles, but they're using those vehicles as weapons in every secretive way that they can get away with. Just like if you have everyone in a suburb being a stalker, that's still, it's worse than having one stalker, but it's like you can't, they're breaking their own rules, but you can't prove it. You can't prove it. But this one's here. See? Yeah. They sacrifice human beings and massive robbery of my energy and this person's energy, because while they're stalking and patrolling and harassing you, I'm half the person that I was even a few years ago at an energy level, at a mental level. Even over the last 12 months, like just your energy. I know when I'm making the video I sound loud and confident because I'm angry, but in reality I'm totally depleted and defeated and almost depressed and wanting to give up most days. But know that that's what they want you to do, and realizing that it's a bigger thing. But it doesn't make it any easier because I can't get my energy back. Not when it's on a continual basis and I don't get a break from it. I mean, this is putting it the way it is. Yeah. See, these beings literally live off and feed off my energy every day. And I'm losing my mind, my energy. They make you feel that you don't exist. So it's even hard to keep going. I haven't even looked at all of these, but I need to look at them. But I saw it the other day. See, this is not a demigod, or at least it's unlikely. Usually the demigods of the internet are successful, and they're although they pretend to be very human, so they will have human foibles thrown in because they imitate and copy the human beings, they will still be a lot more professional in the way that they speak and present the videos. Of course, they do cater to individual different audiences, so some of them will be more I would think that they all cater to the different personality types that, say, I would like, because each individual human being, the few that are left, will have different styles and different personalities and different physical things that might attract them to watch the same type of videos or the same information being projected through a different medium or a different android, in other words. Some androids will appeal more to some people than others, that's all. All these things are true because I have them too. All these beings see the world through my eyes. They literally see my every step. And therefore they're trying to feel what I feel. They're taking over my mind and my personality and my very being, you could say. Everything that is me is being, like this gentleman said, ripped out of you. Of course, the demigods do speak the truth. This has just come up, so I'm only sorry that I haven't studied these and, because I don't really know what I'm filming here, but I hope some of it makes sense. Yeah, a whole city on the move, and they follow him everywhere, and they follow me everywhere. Exactly the same. You're literally just surrounded and confined by these beings all the time. This is the only time that I've been able to make this video. It's now like about 3 in the morning, or maybe even a bit later, so I'll have to get going because the sun will soon be up, so I won't be able to make these videos in peace and quiet. And I'm very stressed anyway. 95% of 95% of my life is ruled by this production. I'm guessing that's what it says, because that's what it is. It's like a production, and it is like brainwashing you and mind controlling you, because they're using my physical reality, the people around me, to control my mind. And this fella literally surrounded by it every day. This is like an old video now, a few years old, and brought down pretty much by being patrolled, as he said, exactly the same as what I experienced, where your sight and sound is totally taken over from the minute you go outside your door. Apart from like now, when it's like where they have to even play by their own rules. I'm inside this house. I'm not gone outside. They can't bring too much traffic onto the small dead-end street where I am at that time. But of course, it's quite possible that if I even go out there now, that a vehicle will come from, the patrol force and will park itself outside. There is actually a van parked out there, which is highly suspicious, which has been there for a few hours, which is kind of intimidating, because if you see a vehicle that doesn't belong to you or to your immediate neighbours, even though of course the immediate neighbours are 100% part of the patrol control force. This entire suburb is nothing but but I was just looking to show, strangely enough, my voice sounds very clear and loud, and yet I'm actually very stressed. And but I've got the mobile right next to my mouth, so I just trying to make these videos while I can, even though no one sees them and it's pointless. See there again, yeah. Usually I'm showing demigods, but I assume this one could be a real human being. But that's true. The true history has never really fully been told, although it is starting to come out now that there is not just one human being on this earth, even though of course we all come in different varieties, I know, but essentially they are, one is what you would think is a real human being, shall we say, but the other is definitely another type altogether. It is very the equivalent of a total psychopathic android from a human standpoint. That's from a human standpoint, okay? And yes, they do have a lot of means, technology that they use to be able to monitor and watch me 100%. Obviously, every street light, every screen that is around me in this city, every car, every vehicle, every person, or most people, all have technology on them. And they use technology in various ways that they can see through my eyes and monitor and watch me 24/7. They have, like I'm quite aware when I see the extra bright lights everywhere, that's so they can see me even more closely. In fact, that is also part of their mind control too, because it's very intrusive and intimidating for me to have these bright lights in my eyes everywhere I go, as though you're under the spotlight. You're literally you feel as though you're under hot interrogation lights. And you know that all those cars that have those lights, they're not just doing it for showmanship for themselves like they would pretend. They're actually using them to intimidate you and to observe you. And they know that you know, but you can't prove that. They make up their justifications and their stories for why they do not just the good things, but the negative things too. But everything really is about controlling a human being. That you know when it happens to you. And if you really see how this world is going, even if I wasn't being patrolled at a local community level in the area where I am. Even if I actually, could go back 7 years and thought that the world was just becoming more computerized and more technological, but they weren't particularly spying on me or watching me, and that I could still just get about with a certain amount of